In May of 1991, the Salem Witch Trials Memorial Competition was announced. Out of 246 entries, a jury selected 3 finalists and provided a $500 stipend to develop their submissions into 3-dimensional models. The winning entry was designed by James Cutler and Maggie Smith, but this video explores the other 2 entries that might have been chosen. Ann Kearsley and Barbara Boardman were landscape architecture students at Harvard's Graduate School of Design when they learned of the competition. At first glance, their submission does not look like your typical memorial. There is no grand entrance, informative plaque, or tall statue. With a simple picket fence, overgrown grass, and stone foundation, it might be mistaken for the ruins of an abandoned property from Salem's past. Upon closer inspection, however, one soon discovers that these elements are not only intentional, but highly symbolic. Take, for instance, the massive granite blocks, which provide a place for visitors to sit, rest, and reflect on the Salem witch trials. Visually, their rectangular shape and massive scale echo the sarcophagi seen throughout the cemetery. In terms of their position, note how they are evenly spaced and organized into uniform rows, reminiscent of religious pews. The entire platform, in fact, suggests the foundation of a church or town hall, a place where people once gathered and shared a set of common values. In the middle, this platform violently cracks in half and collapses into the earth, signifying the events of 1692 that tore this community apart. One can read many meanings into this divide: the geographical schism between Salem town and Salem village, the disputes over property lines, the fractions in religion, or the boundary of chaos and order. Whatever your interpretation, the disruption was so seismic that it moves those monumental blocks, which seem to slide down into the abyss. Although it's not visible in the model, the names of the victims were to be carved into this slope, and water would have flowed down from the central crack. As the water gently weeped over the letters, the names would have rippled and wavered underneath. Tall, unmowed grass creeps around the margin of this section, as if the memorial is being swallowed by the earth itself. Other areas are completely manicured, emphasizing the power struggle between urban Salem town and rural Salem village. The landscaping also provides a tactile separation between the memorial and the cemetery. Towards the rear, a small stone path trickles off into the cemetery. The designers created an experiential memorial. It is not something you look at, but something you step inside and move through. Aside from safety issues and maintenance costs, had this memorial been chosen, it would have stood as a powerful reflection on the past, as well as a stark warning for the future. The other finalist was Richard Scher, who was teaching architecture at Pratt University when he saw an ad for the competition in Architectural Record. As you can see in his model, visitors are first met by 2 gravestone-like tablets, carved into which are the names of the condemned, as well as an explanation of the monument and history of the site. A long, narrow path leads to 4 benches surrounded by hedges, providing visitors a secluded area to contemplate Salem's tragic past in relation to the sculptural memorial. Made of concrete blocks and fabricated steel, this dominant structure supports a lifeless tree trunk that is stripped of its bark, leaves, and smaller branches. The metaphor of this column is intentionally ambiguous. Scher hoped it would inspire multiple readings and perhaps trigger associations with the witness stand, where denials were spoken, torture devices, which forced confessions, the judge's bench, from which judgments were read, the gallows, from which the accused were hanged, and even upright tombstones in the adjacent graveyard. The physical act of choosing the tree would symbolically reenact the events of 1692. Among all the living trees on the site, one was to be chosen arbitrarily, and then condemned by violently cutting it down and displacing it to its new location, where it would be displayed and exposed in its, quote, deformed nakedness. Seeing this organic form helplessly suspended by this oppressive structure would evoke the emotional horror and shame the witch trial victims must have felt. Considering its dark symbolism and haunting imagery, Richard Scher's memorial would have been a haunting reminder of Salem's grim past. The quality of both submissions must have made it difficult for the judges of the competition. To learn more about the winning model, designed by James Cutler and Maggie Smith, click this link below, and thanks for watching.